The 28th of July 2023. Whiskey Treat, July 23. There was a tradition in my family that if you had something to celebrate or you achieved something, you'd have some little treat, go out for a meal or do something. A lot of people don't look at life that way, and a lot of people are incredibly mean. I know some people, and I knew some people throughout my life who were incredibly mean. And they died with a lot of money. Some of them died from the hunger. It's amazing how mean some people are. I don't know are they everywhere, but they're certainly in Ireland anyway, but not them all, of course. And I had a few cattle out yesterday on my farm, and there were male cattle, and it got to the stage where if I had them in great condition on grass, and there is really good grass at the moment, and I've had 100% calving success, thank God, touch wood, since November last year. Absolutely great. And so it's not that there's that much in it, because I have very big expenses and a lot of work in my farming activity. My cat is just here beside me. She checks the place out for mice before I come in, but I don't think she'll come up here. No, she's Dewish. Dewish is her name. She's black, and Dewish is there for black. Say hello, Dewish. Say hello. Say hello. Hello to them there. Right, we let you down there. What are you going to do? You're going to have on. Here. Here, don't go away in bad humour. Don't go away in bad humour. Aha, here. That's Dewish for you. Tell you, there'll be no mice about with Dewish. But the problem is, she catches them outside and brings them in as well. But anyway, it's a farm place here in Ireland. But my best animal was bred from an AI, artificial insemination bull, and he was a year 12, he was 15 months old, and he was a real good one, and he was a Shirley, he weighed 480 kilos, and he made 1,440 euros. So he made very close to 100 euros a month. He got a little meal last year. Now, if I were to keep him on, I'd have to separate him and give him meal separate from the cows, and it's time to let some of the man head away. I had two others, so they did well as well. So the thing is, a treat. Some people see me talking about whiskey. Oh, you're gonna this and that. Oh, you love that drink. You're drunk. This is what they say. And this is what some of them say on social media. Oh, he's on the booze again. Well, I'll be sharing my bottle of whiskey or whatever, and with people and with friends and with family. But instead of drinking a lot of whiskey, a lot of the time I wouldn't thank you for it, and in fact I mightn't bother with any for a while, maybe over the weekend, maybe Saturday with friends, but a lot of the time I don't feel like it. But I wouldn't leave the house without a bottle, because if you have a heartburn or indigestion or anything like that, it is a great 1.5 one of whiskey is great for that, and good on the stomach. And it's good to make you sleep as well, but you don't have to take it every day. So it is not a case of, oh, he's fond of the drink. It's a case of that I drink a little whiskey. I would drink nothing, only whiskey. Whiskey's my drink, always was. I do drink a wee drop of beer too, but not much. And then you're up all the night if you drink beer. So I might have one or two in the town, a glass of beer or something. So I like to drink not the most expensive whiskey, but something unusual, something which is different. And it goes into the bourbons and the ryes in America, and the scotches and that, and the good Irish whiskies. There's a few good Irish whiskies, a lot of them not that good either. I don't want to condemn any of them like that, but Irish Distillers generally does a good whiskey. Paddy is very grain reliant. I wouldn't be gone on it, tell you the truth. And Jameson isn't great either. It's very highly, it's aged in sherry butts, which are all right, and kind of a pruny taste of it. I prefer the bourbon cask. So anyway, John Power and Son is the famous Irish distiller from Bow Street, which is off Thomas Street. It's really Thomas Street in Dublin. And would you believe it, I was in that distillery after it closed, but there were still casks there. It was one of the finest distilleries in the world, and it had a gravity feed right down to the Liffey. Anyway, it was closed, and that's that. But the thing is, John Power always made pure pot still whiskey, which means that it's only 40% of the barley is malted, The rest of it is not malted, and then the mash is made from that, and that is run in a pot still only. In a pot still only. And in 1950, 52 or 3, roughly around then, the company decided to include about 30% grain whiskey made in a continuous still, or a coffee still as they called it, using American grains or French grains or whatever, and mix it with it. Now the law is strictly for pot still whiskey. The grains have to be such as are ordinarily grown in Ireland, and that can include rye, barley, wheat. Oats is not normally used, it's too sticky. So that's pure pot still whiskey, normally made all with barley, and you'll see it on the label, pure pot still or pot still. It cannot have pot still unless it's actually made in a pot still. Anyway, as a treat, I splashed out €36 today. Not that expensive when you consider the cost of it. And I mentioned this whiskey before, and here it is. Powers Irish Rye, 100% rye mash. Which side does this go here? Yeah, it's this side here. 100% rye mash. Now I'll try and get it here for you. 100%. See that there? 100% rye mash. Now this is available from the Celtic Whisky Shop in Dublin. It's in about Nassau Street there, and it may be available in a few other shops. It's available in some of the border outlets across the border, and it's not that terribly expensive at all. It's made from 100% rye. Now it doesn't say, I'll just read a little bit here. It doesn't say it's made in pot still or that it is pot still, but they couldn't put that on the bottle anyway. I'd say it probably is. It doesn't really matter if it's made in a continuous still either. It's made from 100% rye. That is very unusual. They're malting the rye. They malt it, and you can buy malted rye. It can be got, but they're malting the rye, and so they don't need any barley at all. Now, normally rye whiskey has barley. They don't malt the rye. They use barley to bring the rye into the sugars and cause it to convert. Saccharization, they call it, cause the starches to convert to sugar. But it looks like there's no barley in this at all. It looks like this is 100% malted rye. None the worse of that. So it should be a really good drop. It's not that expensive, and it's Irish and all that. And I'll just pause here to see, can I get a smell of it? So I'll probably not bother with tonight. Yeah, it is a great nose. That is unbelievable. Oh, it is a fine whiskey. A very, 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 very fine whiskey. Just don't have my glass here now. Oh, great stuff. For anyone that likes whiskey. Now, you wouldn't be putting any mixer in that. And the strength of it is... I'll have to stop. You can see the benefit of having a pause on the camera. This is only a smartphone. It is absolutely amazing that you can't buy any of the main suppliers of cameras, of video cameras, with a pause. What is wrong with them? You won't get a JVC or any of the Japanese brands or Canon or any of them with a pause function. Only a real cheap Chinese. It is absolutely balubus. But anyway, yeah, it's on it here. Where did I see it now? It's 43.2% alcohol, and that is absolutely ideal. That's the whiskey to drink neat. You wouldn't put anything through it. And it is, I highly recommend it. Now we'll have a few germs of that over the weekend. Hopefully, I'm in the humour for it. Not perhaps tonight. So that's the story. It just shows you like that there are good whiskies out there, and I have a thing about that. I think that's a fantastic Irish rye whiskey. Rye is a unique type of whiskey, and it's normally in the blend of a lot of bourbons. And I was going to choose between that and a Wild Turkey rye, which is 40%, and about the same price. So good enough too. I was between the two, but this is so unusual, like that there's a rye whiskey made by Irish distillers. And Irish Distillers and Powers brand of it is a really good distillery. They know how to do it really, really well. So anyway, that's the story. Just letting you know, Powers 100% Irish whiskey, it's 100% rye mash. 100% rye mash. And just when I'm here on this thing about the E and the whiskey, I often reiterate it. Whiskey, the word whiskey comes from ishka, which is the word you'll even see. If you're walking down the street in Ireland, you'll see a little water meter cover and you'll see Ishke, Uisce. There's no K in Ishke. There's no K in Irish at all. Uisce, Ishke. And it used to be corrupted to Fuishke, and then it became Whiskey and Whiskey. But the Ishke has an E at the end, Uisce, Ishke. And then because the anglicization of it, or the English way of saying it, has a Y, whiskey, E in the context of Irish would not make it E. If that were to be, and there's no Y in Irish either, no Y in Gaelic language, so if you were to make it whiskey, you'd probably have to have it Uisci, would probably be the way you'd spell it, or Uiscei. I is normally one of the ways of saying E in Irish. It's a tricky one. That's why nobody really answers that. But there is an E in the word whiskey. But then you could argue with the Scotch that the Y replaces the E in English, so that there shouldn't be an E in it. It's a good debate. Good debate. We'll not go into it here. I'm just letting you know. I know my native language very, very well. You could argue that Uiscy would be the anglicization of whiskey, but then they have it changed to Whiskey or KY, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. But I can say for absolute certainty, I even heard people in the west of Ireland in my time referring to whiskey as Fuishke. Fuishke, they called it Fuishke. They couldn't say Ishke. It was hard on them. Ishke is a kind of a swanky or upmarket way of speaking Irish. Ishke, oh, you're a bit of a swank, like. Oh, Fuishke, Fuishke. And I even heard that. So Fuishke was what it became. And then Fuishke was only a small change from that away. So just for a little bit of useless information, and we let you go at that, just to let you know. I don't know where, as I said, the Celtic Whisky Shop has it. Some whisky shops have it. I know where it can be got. I don't know whether it can be got down in Cork or down there. I don't know. But anyway, I think one of the best, most exciting drops of whiskey to come out, or to come out this year, and last year I think it was out as well. One of the most exciting, an Irish rye whiskey, 100% rye whiskey, is very, very unique. I would presume this is just ordinary, no age. I'd say this is 7-year-old. I said 7-year-old, but I'd say that in a few years' time you'll be getting this at a 10, and you might get it at a 12 in bourbon casks. And I have to check more to see. I haven't only one pair of glasses here to see what the cask is. I might post underneath if there's any more information. Bye. We'll see you back for something else. We went a wee bit over what I intended, but anyway, we'll see you back for something else. Bye. Good luck. Thank you.